Yeah, I think I'm going to do this. So let's go ahead and do that. We've got 4 left. It only costs us 1 to attack with it. Let's put one of these out. So this costs us 1. This unit has blitz, so let's put it to the front line. And then we can attack with it because it costs another 1. And then everything behind, because of its special ability, gets a +1 attack. So that'll give us a little bit more oomph here. And then let's go ahead and put out another 506 on the other side. Shawn from Shield Wall Gaming, and I'm coming at you tonight with a World War II themed CCG called Kards. Game's been out for about a year. It just hit its official release on April 15th, just a few days ago from when this video is being released. This game has over 500 cards. It is a CCG, and it's a pretty clean game. It's pretty cool. We have a lot of people at the club that play a lot of historical miniatures, things like that. Now, this is a CCG World War II themed game, not necessarily a historical or historically accurate game. Now, the units are, and I think the tanks, like all of that is historically accurate. But in order to make it a good, fluid game, there's some elements to it that you can't really, they're not really historically accurate. You'll see what I'm talking about. It is pretty cool. I figured I'd play for a little bit here. I'd play against the AI so I could show you the game. And there are 7 factions right now. There's 8 different card types in the game. Like I said, 500 cards. They started with 350. They added 150 cards to add Italy and France to the Allies kind of list. So you start with one of the main countries, Soviet Union, Germany, Japan, or the United States, and then you add an ally. And the ally can be any of the other factions, including France and Italy now, and it could be any of those cards within a certain percentage. Now the challenge that I have, and a challenge that someone might have, is if it really bothers you that the starting deck for this, for the United States, or one of them, is the United States and Japan allied together, then this might not, it's probably going to take you out of the theme a little bit, but that's where you have to kind of go back to understanding that this game itself is a CCG, and they needed to be able to mix all of those abilities together to be able to build a different dynamics. There'd be no way to create certain types of play without doing something like that, and so that's how the developers have justified that, although there are many people that have said, well, it bothers me that I can take Britain and partner them with Germany and create a deck that way. So, but that aside, if you can get past that part, which I can because I'm looking for good gameplay, and the artwork's great, and the units are all correct, and the tanks and everything are all pretty good, and they all work a certain way. The mechanics tied to an individual country have their own flavor. Germany has a way of kind of advancing some of its credits and being able to create big turns like a blitzkrieg. The Soviet Union is, of course, a very expendable army. When things die, you create new units. They just go and conscript new units. That's where you get 1/1 soldiers and stuff coming out. Japan has a very, when things die, other things take damage. So it's kind of that kamikaze style. So every country has kind of their own theme and their own mechanics. Where the game designers went with doing that, I think put them into a little bit of a hole where you couldn't just keep with those mechanics without merging some of the other ones. You know, some have more card draw than others and things like that. The game would probably be broken and it would be really hard to balance if you couldn't do the mix the way they do it. But what we're going to do is let's go ahead and go in. I'm going to talk about the card types. I'll talk about the gameplay. You know, CCG-wise, it is a mix between, I would say, codex, because you have to control a front line in order to attack the opponent's base, and the mana or resource system is similar to Hearthstone, or it's similar to Epic or something like that, where you get one resource as the game goes on and you build to a crescendo of being able to play a lot of things. So let's go ahead and go in to it. I'm going to do this early war deck I built because I was trying to stick with the theme with the U.S. and Britain. Now, this deck's probably not very good. I've only played it once, and actually I don't even think I finished the game because I had to eat dinner. So it's just going to pull up a random AI here, and we can talk through the game a little bit. These are our locations, and the locations I think at some point can have abilities. I don't think they do, the starting ones don't. And you get to do a mulligan and draw, which is kind of nice. I'm getting 5 cards because I'm the second player. So you can see that these have no special abilities. This is the unit's attack, and this is the unit's defense. Anytime a unit attacks anything, it'll fight it unless otherwise stated, like an artillery unit or something like that, and you'll see how that works. Ground units can fight air units, and air units can fight, artillery units, and vice versa. So again, the historical accuracy isn't always, there's not a big tactical element. It's a CCG with this theme and this kind of paint over top of it to look that way. You could really kind of probably take this and add a fantasy theme to it, and it would play kind of the same way. I'm going to mulligan that just because it's a little expensive, and I want to stay with this quick blitz early on to see what I can get going here. If I had something 2 would be great. So I'm going to go ahead and mulligan that as well, and we're going to draw 2 cards up, and that works out okay. We can get rid of somebody's abilities with this overwhelming force, and we've got a lot of cheap things to do here. So, all right, and this Sherman's great. This is basically our draw, so that if I have something in the front line, I get to draw 2 cards when the Sherman plays. Now, how this works is you have to play cards at your base, and then it costs a resource to do. These are called credits. And there are credits to deploy, and there are credits to, I guess what they call operate. And so if you can see here, the Sherman, it's 4 credits to deploy, and then it would be 2 credits to operate. To operate would be to move or fire. So as an example, this is 1 and 1. So I'm going to take the 506th Airborne, and it'll cost me 1 credit. This is my baseline, which means this is what I get this turn. There are abilities, and I think I have some in here, that will allow me to increase this. Anytime a turn starts, you're going to get what this number is. So if you're able to increase this on your turn, you'll get the next turn. So if I'm able to somehow increase this to a 3, I'll skip getting only 2 credits, and I'll get 3 credits. Units cannot do anything other than deploy on their first turn, which makes sense. It's kind of like summoning sickness in Magic or something like that. So you play it, well, unless they have a special ability called Blitz. So in this situation, the Greyhound has Blitz. So it can come onto the battlefield, and then it can also move and attack and do all kinds of things. A tank artillery unit, a tank unit is the only one that can attack and move, or move and attack at the same time. So if I had this M8 or this M4 Sherman here, I could pay 2 to move it and then pay 2 to shoot with it. And I can shoot anything out here, again, given some special abilities that might be out. So let's go ahead and start. Let's put out, we're going to save this because we can blitz and kind of do a surprise attack for 1. So we'll put out, we got 3 of these, my goodness. So we'll put out the 506th Airborne, and we'll end our turn. And see what the Russians are going to do here. So they're going to deal 1 damage to our headquarters, to their headquarters, pardon me, and take down their own infrastructure in order to get resources, which sounds about right. So now at this point, I could move. I can't move and attack, but we can get him into the front line. I guess that was deal 1 damage to a unit and your HQ, so it dealt a damage to my unit here. Okay. So if we get this into the front line, yeah, let's go ahead and put it out there. So we cannot attack with it. If it was a tank, we could attack with it, but next turn we'll be able to, and then we'll put another 506 out and go from there. Again, I have no idea how this deck's gonna work. Again, I'm playing against computers, so it shouldn't be too bad. So they just put out the BT7, which is just a straight 2 attack, 2 defense. Now, there's nothing preventing me from just attacking this unit. Now, what can happen next turn is, since I have the front line, I control the front line. He can't put things out here. He's got to get rid of this before I can do it, before he can do anything with it. He's probably going to do that. Next turn, he'll attack. When he attacks this, I'll do 2 damage to it. It'll do 2 damage to me. They'll just swap. They just attack each other, basically. So I drew a For the King, deal 5 damage to... wow, that's actually really strong. And that might be good removal here. Now, this is an order card. So there are basically 7 kinds of cards. There are infantry, artillery, tanks. There are bombers, fighters. There are orders, and there are countermeasures. So orders are like instants in Magic. Countermeasures are how you react to what your opponent does on their turns. I don't even think I have a single countermeasure because I haven't opened many cards. This game is free to play, and then you buy packs, of course, just like any CCG. I think I said that already. I'm not sure. All right, so yeah, let's go ahead and let's just do this. Get rid of that tank. That we might be wasting that because they could be putting something big out. So that cost us 2, and then we'll attack with 1. Oops. And we'll hold. So I can't move these guys out because I don't have enough credits, and it'll tell me that. But next turn, if we can keep this guy alive, we can draw 2 cards by putting the M4 Sherman out because it will allow us to get 2 cards. All right. Okay, so they have infantry, has a basic ground unit, obviously, and it has ambush. So when attacked for the first time each turn, this unit deals its damage first and receives no damage. So this is like first strike in Magic. You'll see a lot of mechanics that are similar to a lot of other CCGs, and it has a trigger, affects the game rules in some kind of place. So trigger means if something happens, this happens. Again, just like Magic. So if I went to attack, he would deal 3 damage, and I would do no damage to it. Now I could play Overwhelming Force and get rid of that ambush ability, but I'm not really too concerned about that right now. I kind of want to just, I could continue to pound here. I think we'll save that for later. Yeah, so let's draw 2 cards because I kind of want to see what we can get into here. Okay, that's not bad. So if our line gets taken over, we have that. We have another M8 Greyhound, and we'll end turn. I kind of like that. So now we have this Sherman out here, and we can really put them some pressure on. Deal 6 damage to a ground unit. Okay, well, there's also that. And so scratch that. Okay, now this is a fighter. So the fighter can attack any unit on the ground. Also prevents bombers from attacking the base. So it can attack anything it wants. Whatever it attacks, it will do damage back to it because it has to fly over top of that ground unit and do damage to it. All right, so that puts us in a little more of a predicament. Losing that hurts. Can attack twice with that. That's 4 damage is a lot. That's a really strong card. It is a limited card. That's why. All right. So let's go ahead and gosh. Yeah, why not? Let's say we could. Yeah, I don't feel like I have to get rid of this unit. He's going to move it to the front line at some point. Then we can do 2 damage to it. And I can get rid of its ability anytime I want. I think I'm going... Yeah, I think I'm going to do this. So let's go ahead and do that. We've got 4 left. It only costs us 1 to attack with it. Let's put one of these out. So this costs us 1. This unit has blitz, so let's put it to the front line. and then we can attack with it because it costs another 1. And then everything behind, because of its special ability, gets a +1 attack. So that'll give us a little bit more oomph here. And then let's go ahead and put out another 506 on the other side. And I like that turn. It keeps some pressure on the Russians here. They're down to 14, and they're going to have to deal with us. Final push. Give a friendly unit +3 attack destroyed at the end of your turn. Wow. I'm really surprised. That was probably pretty crazy for them to do that. But they just lost everything there. I don't understand that move necessarily, but it is the computer. Okay. So they're down to 4 cards. Yeah, I mean, let's blitz again. Let's get something on the front line. We'll do a damage, and then we'll put the 30th Regiment out, which can do some work. We're getting a good baseline out, a good support line, and we can kind of push our attack now if we need to. That's pretty good. That's pretty not bad. So that tank had blitz, so it could move and attack. It could do it on the same turn. Okay. So if we move this out, if I do this, that tank, it would probably force him to fight us there. But we could move both out. Why don't we do that? Let's put our assault out here. Let's go ahead and put it out and see what he does with it. And then we will put the 8th Cavalry Regiment beside. That makes our base invulnerable basically to damage. Now he's going to have to deal with this and do something because he's facing 8 damage here. So this game is very much about board control, which is like a lot of other games. I've got a hard attack going. That was a good move, I guess. Okay, so now this unit has guard, and that's going to be important for us because, my goodness, that was a rocket attack. When it attacks, deals, so it has blitz. Okay, 0 to 1 additional damage, so it basically rolls a random attack. Now, artillery can do anything on the board. Now, what this card did is he added guard. So it's hard to get rid of, and everything on either side of it is blocked. I can't attack it. Now, guard cards do not guard other guard cards. So let's say this card had guard as well. These two would still be eligible to be attacked because it's the adjacent cards. So I can't attack the base right now. But I do have overwhelming force, which I'm glad I kept because I can remove guard from this unit. And before I do that, though, maybe we draw a card. We have nothing else with blitz because I would like to be able to blitz something in there. But let's go ahead and put the Sherman in. Let's see what we got. Oh, 4 of the King's nice. And we have a Spitfire. Yeah, I don't know where my artillery is. The artillery would be nice. All right, so I think what we're... Yeah, let's just do the 6 damage now. I think that makes sense. So let's go ahead and get rid of the tank just so it's no longer a threat. So I think that makes sense. We will put the 463rd Battalion out. And let's get rid of guard. And we're going to do 6 damage. Because these two really can't kill us. We want to keep them on the front line. These two don't really have... Oh, I don't have enough credits to do that. My bad. I should have attacked with the 4. So there's a mistake I made. My bad. Miscalculated the math there. So that takes it down to 1. +3/+3. That's pretty good. That card now becomes pretty formidable. If that had guard, wow, that'd be amazing. Another Awoken Giant, which I don't need. All right, so now we can 8. I can do 10 damage now and put out a Spitfire. So let's do that. Yeah. All right, so 2, boom, boom, boom. So that's pretty not bad. And we'll put the Spitfire out. Oop, nope, that's only at 3. Oh, my bad. All right, so let's move this unit out to the front lines. And we will move this unit out to the front lines. Let's just get our line out there. I haven't seen a board wipe yet. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. There's 500 cards in the game. Okay, so now that adds a problem. So now we just need to get rid of this card, basically. Yeah. So we should be fine. So now let's just, yeah, we'll do here. And we'll do here. And we'll let these guys, we'll let the 463rd. Oh, no. Wait a minute. This guy has guard too? Oh, my gosh. It has guard too. That was really good placement by them. Okay, this card has guard as well. Well, we're not running out of anything yet, so. And that guard was removed. Okay, just had to do a little bit of different things. Wow, that was a battle there. So that shows you the Soviets and kind of how they work. So, decent little game. It's fun. There is a really cool, they have a draft that you can do. You have to pay to be in the draft. You can earn coins as you play. If you go to the shop, you can buy cards, buy sets. There's different things that you can purchase. Oh, so these are the Allegiance packs. Okay. So Allegiance packs you have to buy separate. So I don't have any Allegiance cards then. And you can buy individual packs and whatnot. This is kind of cool. I thought they have a special limited card back. All proceeds for this card back will go to the UN COVID Fund. I thought that was pretty cool. And you could change your card backs and stuff. And when you go into, oops, wrong one. If you go into your cards, and this is the deck I have, right? But if I go to a starter deck, you get 40 cards, and the limits of the cards are listed here. If you choose who your allies are, those are the only cards that it'll show. You can go into your collection, and you can, of course, filter. Yeah, so I don't have any. I do have some Allegiance cards, though. So I guess maybe you do open them, but you would just get Allegiance only if you bought the Allegiance only packs. But I guess they are sort of in there. Maybe they're part of the base game. Not sure. So anyway, it's a fun little game. Just thought I'd share with you. Oh, here's real quick where you can do the crafting. So this is where you can. So you can see right now I've got 6 duplicates. I'm over. I have more than 4 of it, and so I can hit recycle all, and now I've got 6 resources to do what I want with. And then you can actually, I believe, craft with those resources if I'm not mistaken. Let me just take a look. Yeah, so here's my craft resources. And so I believe if I go to cards and we can say show all. So like here's a card I don't have, right? This order card. So if I click on it, it'll tell me I need 8 to create it in order to. That's pretty cool how there's history behind it too. So each one of these cards has a little bit of a story. So there's a lot of cool theme in here. But again, just to know that that's what it is. It's not necessarily a tactical game. It's a theme-based game. And it's a CCG. A lot of the mechanics you'll see before or you've seen. And that's just kind of how it is. So let me know your thoughts. And thanks for giving Shield Wall a chance.